Hello leaders, NavIQ here with a heads up video about the life of a principal. For those that were celebrating a belated Eid Mubarak, my apologies. I didn't make any videos in the interim during Ramadan. With the shortened days here in Dubai, things became a bit more active, let's just say, and focus on particular other aspects. Now I'm back, and there's been a few different requests over the last 4 or 5 weeks, since my previous video. And I will look to address all of those points mentioned in there. Today I want to discuss you. Any aspiring leader out there, when you are in your first headship of a school, a principal, or anything above that, you become a brand ambassador. You become the brand in itself. So when you do have this added responsibility of the brand, it's something that you can either learn through trial and error, or it's something that you can learn from others, other principals who have perhaps gone through that particular journey. Now, you might not consider yourself as a brand ambassador, but imagine yourself, you're in a school of 1,000 students or more or less. The reality of the situation is, on every single day as a school principal, you will be there, walking in the mornings, in the afternoons, and everywhere in between, and 1,000 faces, students will be looking at you. You will be having maybe 200 or 300 parents or guardians looking at you. You may be having several meetings, during the week, and other, stakeholders that you'll be meeting looking at you. So it's important that when this does happen, you really focus on what you represent. You cannot have an off day, as hard as that might seem. So it doesn't matter what's happening at home, what the drive was like in the morning, what your day is like, or anything else like this. Yes, you're human, I appreciate that. However, you represent a particular brand and you need to conduct yourself accordingly. So, like with me, for example, it's important that wherever I go within the school, I have a particular image, a particular look, and I try to uphold that as best I can, with, whatever God has given me. That's something personal. Other principals are not exactly the same. Some might be a little bit more casual, a bit more relaxed, and that's their way, and whatever works for them. You will be somewhere in between. You don't need to wear a 3-piece suit, or you don't need to have a pocket square. You don't need to. However, you certainly shouldn't be walking around with flip-flops and pedal pushers as a principal. So do find your happy medium. That's the first point. Secondly, as a principal, how you conduct yourself in meetings, and a brand ambassador also means get yourself out there. So really think about how you're going to network, where you're going to network, what you're going to network, and what will you represent and what will you say when you introduce yourself. So I'm not talking particularly about an elevator pitch here, or I'm not necessarily talking about having an emotionally charged connection, though those are important, and those are videos for another day of what an elevator pitch or an EEC should be like. But what I'm particularly talking about is when you go there and you introduce yourself. What does that look like? And does it catch the attention of others? When you go outside and have a meeting outside, or go to a networking event or whatever else, are you beige in terms of, do you just blend in? Or are you more colorful in the sense that someone looks at you and thinks, who is he or who is she? Which school are they from? And I want to, get to know them more professionally, to understand and connect and collaborate. It will make life so much easier for me. If I'm sharing with you honestly, with me, it came down to my colorful socks, which is an opener for me, where people will say, that's interesting, your socks you're wearing, and that was my in to have a conversation. As ridiculous as that sounds, and I shouldn't be sharing my trade secret, so if I see a lot of principals in Dubai with different color socks, I know I started the trend off. But for me, that's what it was about, and it started off that it broke the ice, and we had a conversation which was a bit more formal, and I was able to collaborate. Find your way, find your brand image which represents your school, but it's also important to speak to your board, speak to your marketing team or your group to understand the parameters within which you can work, so you don't overstep your mark as well, and you're confident in what you're able to deliver out there in your community that you represent. Once again, these are my opinions based on my experiences. Yours may be different. Please do give me a like or a thumbs up, subscribe, recommend, suggest, message me. Any way I am able to help, I'm happy to do so within reason.